What's up, everybody? Welcome to Top 10 Character Moments bonus content. Today we're breaking down a list of my 10 favorite movies. So when I started putting this list together, I realized quickly this is a terrible idea. And the reason I thought this is because a lot of people are going to expect me to talk about the classic movies, right? The Matrix, The Godfather, Back to the Future, Wizard of Oz, Footloose. Okay, maybe not that one, but you get my point. The problem is, the movies I love, the ones I enjoy, are action-adventure films that I grew up on, whether it be a world full of superheroes or in a galaxy far, far away. And sure, I love a good comedy movie that makes me laugh no matter how many times I watch it, but I thought about it and I'm like, man, people are gonna find this list boring and lame. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And if I remember correctly, some of you voted this into existence, so let's see what happens. Before we begin, do you guys like top 10 videos? Cause if so, you should consider subscribing to the channel. I've got all sorts of top 10 videos on movies and TV characters' greatest moments. Also, are any of you guys Star Wars fans? If so, subscribe to my other YouTube channel called Sector for Nerds, where you can find countless videos of must-see fan-made content of myself talking about Star Wars. I also do things like play Star Wars video games. It's a whole bunch of fun over there. It's free, so what are you waiting for? Thank you all so much. Alright, those that watch my videos on a regular basis know how this part works. We're going to talk about some honorable mentions before cracking the top 10. First up, Spaceballs. This one is full of action and comedy. A princess runs away from home and gets captured by Spaceballs, but is rescued by a scoundrel known as Lone Star. There's so many funny moments in this film, like Dark Helmet dealing with assholes, Dark Helmet playing with his dolls, and best of all, ludicrous speed. A must-watch for sure.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
Next up, Elf. That's right, a Christmas movie. The best Christmas movie ever made. A man discovers he's not an elf, so he must travel to the city of New York to find his real family. Another movie that gets me to laugh no matter how many times I watch it.
Have you seen these toilets? They're ginormous!
And finally, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I couldn't pick just one, so I thought I'd talk about the trilogy as a whole. Say what you want about James Gunn, but he absolutely knew what he was doing when it came to these movies. His goal was to make movies that didn't copy Star Wars, but to make people feel the way he felt watching Star Wars as a kid. And I think it definitely worked. They're all in my top 5 favorite Marvel movies of all time. I remember every time I had a sick day from school, or I had just gotten my wisdom teeth pulled, or whatever the reason I had to be home, the first movie I'd always pick to watch was the first Guardians movie. I loved it so much. The second one I learned to appreciate much more after the Infinity Saga was over, because that movie had nothing to do with the main MCU plot at the time, and I was like, well, that kind of sucks. But then after, I'm like, you know what, maybe it's for the best that it wasn't. And then the third Guardians movie was such a sad but great way to end the trilogy for this crew of Guardians. Alright, you guys, let's get into the top 10 list itself. You guys ready? Here we go. At number 10, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at World's End. My favorite film of that franchise. Might be a bit of a hot take because I know how much people love the first two, but this one was my jam. I loved Barbossa being a part of it as one of the protagonists. I love Will and Elizabeth's journey through this movie, and I love Jack just being Jack. This movie is just under 3 hours long, so I can understand where people might get tired or bored because it's a longer movie. But for me personally, every time I watch through it, I'm never bored. At number 9, Batman: The Dark Knight. This is by far the best live-action DC movie ever made. For some people, this is one of the greatest movies of all time. Christian Bale was perfect as Batman. Heath Ledger was perfect as Joker. Heck, everyone was perfect in their roles. I feel like the movie just kept getting darker and darker the longer it went on. And you might think, well, it's gotta get worse before it gets better, but the thing is, it doesn't get better. By the end, I'm like, holy crap, this is one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. Gotham was in so much freaking chaos because of the Joker, but most importantly, he took Gotham's shining knight in Harvey Dent and proved that even someone as good as he was could fall to evil. But Batman wasn't gonna let the Joker win. You can either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that's exactly what Batman did. He became the bad guy, because that's what Gotham needed him to be. And I love the moment where Commissioner Gordon's kid's like, Batman, why is he running, Dad? And Gordon's just simply like, Because we have to chase him. Damn, I just got goosebumps saying that. Like, I'm not even kidding. Wait, let me keep going. Let me see if I can keep giving myself the same goosebumps. Hold on. He's the hero that Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him. Because he can take it. Because he's not a hero. He's a silent guardian. A watchful protector. A dark knight. Ugh, so good. At number 8, Avengers Infinity War. Alright, this is where I feel like my list will get interesting in the sense that The Dark Knight to some is one of the best, if not the best movies of all time. So everything I put above this almost guarantees that people will get triggered by it. And my response, I don't give a crap if you're mad because this ain't your list, it's mine. You can have your favorite movies and I can have mine. Simple as that. Now, the reason I enjoyed Infinity War so much is at the time, it felt like the MCU was culminating to this point, the battle against the Mad Titan, Thanos. This is a movie, like Dark Knight, where it felt like things kept getting worse as the movie went on. Like, after Gamora's death, I'm thinking, okay, surely we have to win now, right? We've lost so much. I say we, meaning the heroes. Nope, they just kept losing and losing and losing until the end of the movie where, ultimately, they lost. And I was shocked. Thanos did everything he set out to do. I remember leaving the theater thinking, what on earth did I just watch? I remember when I was in college first time around, and I swear me and my friend watched this movie like, I want to say 7 or 8 times. We just kept watching it and trying to come up with new theories and what might happen in the next film. Good times. At number 7, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. While Batman the Dark Knight is the best live-action DC movie ever made, in my opinion, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War is the best DC movie, period. You want to talk about dark movies? Well, it's literally in the name, folks. 15 movies within 7 years led to this ultimate finale of the DC AMU and did not disappoint. The whole series led to a battle with Darkseid, and at the start of the movie, they lost. Lots of heroes die, and the ones who survive become slaves of Darkseid. Even at the end of the movie, when Darkseid is finally defeated, the damage was not just done to the team, but the planet Earth as a whole. Really, the only way out was a flashpoint, a way to clear the board and start again. I love the main characters in this movie as well, as it was all about Damian Wayne, Batman's son, Raven, Superman, and John Constantine. Damian and Raven were my 2 favorite characters in the DC AMU, with Constantine as a close third. The fight between Damian and Batman with Darkseid watching reminded me of Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader from Return of the Jedi, where the Emperor was watching them. I'm almost certain the people that made this movie were big Star Wars fans because they also used the I love you, I know line a couple times with Superman and Lois Lane as well. At number 6, Grown Ups. Okay, this is different. I know, I'm way ahead of y'all with your thoughts. I enjoy a good comedy movie that gets me to laugh no matter how many times I watch it. I also enjoy a good movie with Adam Sandler in it. This one was both. This movie had an all-star lineup for the main cast members. You've got Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Chris Rock, David Spade, and Rob Schneider. It's all about 5 dudes who used to play basketball and were best friends growing up. Their coach passing away is what brings them back together, and they do a bunch of crazy but fun things in this movie, like pulling pranks on one another, going to a water park and sneaking past the lines for slides, and also pee in the pool. They also play against their old rivals in basketball, and most importantly, Arrow Roulette. This movie is all sorts of fun. At number 5, Dodgeball. This one and Grown Ups can probably switch spots on any day depending on the level of nostalgia I feel in the moment. This is another really funny movie in my opinion. It's all about Peter LaFleur and his work buddies from Average Joe's Gym trying to save their gym from being taken over by White Goodman's Globo Gym. This movie has so many funny moments in it, there's not enough time to mention them all. But one of my favorites is when they're being trained by dodgeball extraordinaire Patches O'Houlihan. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
At number 4, Avengers Endgame. Never in my life have I ever been more hyped going into a movie than Avengers Endgame. Even more than a Star Wars movie, and y'all know that's my bread and butter. That year between Infinity War and Endgame, oh my goodness, what a time that was. I'm glad it was only a year, because I don't know if I could hold my excitement back anymore. So then it came time to see this movie, and it was everything I wanted it to be, and more. It was the culmination of 11 years of MCU storytelling. It's all about the main 6 of the MCU. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Black Widow, along with newer members like War Machine, Ant-Man, Rocket, and Nebula. The movie is over 3 hours long, with the first hour being about the Infinity War fallout / preparing for the time travel. Second hour is about the time travel or time heist itself, and the third hour is all about the final battle against Thanos and his army. The moment when all portals open up and the heroes that we've met over the last 11 years walked through them was probably the most satisfying part of being an MCU fan at the time, along with Cap saying, "Avengers, assemble." Doesn't get much better than that, folks. At number 3, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. This to me isn't just a classic Star Wars movie, but a classic movie, period. The ending of this movie is, well, quite literally the Empire striking back and winning. I feel like other movies and shows get compared to this movie whenever it has an ending with evil winning, but it's a good story that you're invested in, because that's what the Empire Strikes Back is. But along the way, you've got Luke training with Yoda to be a Jedi, Han and Leia's relationship is furthered, and we're introduced to Lando Calrissian. And then, of course, there's that plot twist towards the end of the movie. After A New Hope, we thought Vader betrayed and murdered Luke's father, but no, it turns out that Vader is his father. You mean to tell me that one of the most evil people in the galaxy is the main good guy's father? Unbelievable. I do wonder how many kids that are getting into Star Wars today know that Anakin is Darth Vader before going into it. Because when I was little and watched this movie, I had no idea. And I'd like to think I was as shocked as people in 1980 were. At number 2, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi. Oh, I know I'm gonna make some people triggered with this one. Return of the Jedi better than The Empire Strikes Back? How could you? Man, I loved this movie growing up. Everything from the scenes in Jabba's palace, to Luke revealing his green lightsaber, to the Battle of Endor, I loved it all. Now, I will say that I think the more TV lore that they've added to Star Wars since the movies, like Clone Wars, Rebels, even Kenobi to an extent, have made me fall in love with this movie even more than when I was a kid. Just because you see how great of a person Anakin was, like especially in the Clone Wars, and I feel like it gives you a better appreciation for the characters besides just the prequel movies. And every time you see someone like an Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka Tano try to bring him back to the light, you want them to do it, but you know deep down they can't, because the only person that can is Luke. Luke Skywalker never gave up on his father, and in my opinion, that moment when Luke throws his weapon to the ground is the most powerful moment in Star Wars, because he's choosing not to give in to violence, to not give in to hate, to not give in to the dark side. Even when Luke could have had all the power in the world and he could have helped rule the galaxy, but that's not what he wanted. And that moment of selflessness helps bring Anakin back to the light. And finally, at number 1, for my favorite movie, Star Wars: Revenge of the Sith. Look, I warned y'all this would happen. All my favorite movies are nerdy films I grew up on. I know people look at Empire Strikes Back as the darkest movie for Star Wars, but the way I see it, this movie is just as dark, if not darker. I mean, you've got an entire race of people that got wiped out. Well, except Obi-Wan, Yoda, Ahsoka Tano, Kanan Jarrus, Ram Koda, Kazdan Paratus, Shakti allegedly, Quinlan Vos, Jocasta Nu, Cal Kestis, Seer Junda, Kelleran Beck, Baylan Skull. You know what? Maybe I stand corrected. In all seriousness, this movie does a great job of not only ending the prequel trilogy, but building the bridge between the prequels and the originals. This movie also has some incredible lightsaber battles, including the incredible battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, now known as Darth Vader. It's the best lightsaber fight they've ever done in Star Wars. Like that fight, this movie takes you for a ride and it does not disappoint. So there you have it, guys. That's my list for the 10 best favorite movies of all time. You guys gotta let me know in the comments below what your favorite movies of all time are, because I imagine that everybody's list, like mine, is gonna be different, so I'm very curious to get your opinions. But be sure to stay tuned every Friday, you guys, for a new episode of Top 10 Character Moments. Thank you all for watching, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.